I want to welcome you to the Engineer Your Success podcast. My name is Dr. James Bryant, your host for the show. This podcast provides tools, tips, and techniques to help you achieve success both in business and in life. It is my pleasure to guide you along your journey to designing and living a life where you are winning at work and at home. I hope that you are having a great day. I hope that you have had a fantastic week. Before we get into today's episode, which is focused on eliminating distraction, I think that's pretty funny because really focus is the kryptonite of distraction. But we're going to talk about that a little bit as we get into the episode. I wanted to just talk about and celebrate some wins. Early on in the show, I would talk about celebrating the wins and learning from the losses, but I've had a few client stories that I've wanted to start highlighting on the show. So I wanted to celebrate the wins of one of my existing clients. And so here's a conversation that kind of we've had this week. I'm working with a client. Over the past 6 months, we have really been focused on preparing that client to reduce the amount of time that they spend working day to day in their business, the day to day activities. We've started putting into strategies and thinking of ways to delegate and to just look at different processes that they can use to free their time up so that they can work on the business and not just work in the business, so they can spend some time managing the relationships of existing clients and pursuing and creating relationships with new clients. So we've been working together over the past 6 months. And so during our weekly check-in this past week, my client smiles at me and he says, "Hey man, if we keep this up, I'm going to be doing 16 hours a week, not by the end of the year, but by the beginning of the summer." So you go from spending over 40 hours, 60 hours, 80 hours, really grinding in your business. And then to get down to 16, I think that's huge. And I just wanted to give a shout out to my client. Hey, man, I really appreciate the work that we've been able to do and keep up the good work. I also want to express some gratitude for a few people that are on my email list. So these people have responded to the emails that I sent out last week. One, David P, thank you for letting me know or reminding me to tell my children to smile. So for those of you that are not on the list, I sent out an email last week just talking about the importance of focusing on building the relationships with your family and letting go of control. So in that story, I talk about the way I have approached vacations. There was a time in life where I really didn't appreciate family vacations, and that was because I wanted control. So it wasn't so much that I was tied into work and I was bringing to work to the vacation. It was more so that I wanted control of everything and how things happened, when things happened, where we stayed, where we were going to eat. It was just this massive control. And any times that things did not go the way that I thought they should, it would be a disruption. It would be an issue, and none of us were happy. So part of the way of me getting around that or solving that was understanding, really what was most important to me. What was most important is building the connection with my family and the relationship with my family and not controlling every aspect of the vacation. And I started really enjoying the vacations when I actually let go of the control. Now we have, great times, spontaneous laughter, doing silly stuff. It's not all about me, but about building that connection and enjoyment. So if you're interested in getting some motivational emails or inspirational emails like that in your inbox, you can use the link in the show notes to sign up for the email list. The last shout out goes to Derail N. I want to thank you for letting me know that you found that email inspirational. So I appreciate you. Again, if you want to get in on the weekly motivation and inspiration emails, you can use the link in the show notes to sign up for the email list. So now let's dive in to today's topic. So the subject that we're going to talk about, I think we all battle with on a daily basis, and that's distractions. Whether you're talking about email, text messages, voice messages, notifications on your phone, notifications on your desktop, people coming to your office to interrupt you if you're in the office site, people knocking on your home office door when you're home. It's distraction after distraction after distraction. And we're constantly being inundated with things that are trying to capture our attention, right? And so, whether it's the demand of our personal lives that creep into our workday, the thinking about the stuff that's happening at home, if it's creeping into our workday, that can be a distraction. But I would also say that when your workday creeps into your personal life, to your home life, that becomes a distraction as well. Distractions can really be the potholes on our way to success. So you're driving down a road and you hit a pothole. It's going to damage your tire, it may mess up your alignment, it may slow you down, it may make you swerve and hit someone or do something else. So potholes are not necessarily a good thing as you're driving down that roadway. And distractions work like potholes on your highway to success. I really like to start off though with common definitions. So I did a quick search to think about, what do I really mean by distraction. So distractions can be defined as a thing that prevents someone from giving their full attention to something else. Something that distracts or takes away is an object that directs one's attention from something else. So there's this common piece of that. Your attention is someplace else and is being pulled away from that. So in order for you to be distracted, there has to be something that you're being pulled away from, something that you want, something that you're focused on, that you're being pulled away from. So if you don't have anything that you're focused on, then is it really a distraction, right? If you don't, if you do not have a goal, if you do not have a habit, if you do not have a dream, if you do not have a vision, then what are you being pulled away from? If you are pursuing nothing, then distractions will only accelerate you acquiring what you are pursuing in that case, and that is nothing at all. But if you're like many of the listeners of this podcast, if you're working towards something, that next stage in your career, if you're creating the family or the dream that you want, if you're looking at that next investment opportunity, if you're creating the business that you want, if you're chasing, catching, and creating your vision, then distractions can pull you away from what you are pursuing. And you really want to make sure that you get distractions under control, that you find a way to eliminate those distractions, or you find a way to interject the distractions kryptonite, which is focus, to really be laser focused on your goal, or better yet, laser focused on the habits that you are pursuing or implementing in your life that will help you to achieve that goal. So you might think that distractions are just minor interruptions and that they are simply part of our modern day life. But the truth is, distractions impact not just our individual productivity. It impacts the outcomes of our projects, the efficiency of our teams, and ultimately the success of our business. Because if your teams are not efficient, if your individual productivity sucks, and you're not communicating well with your teams, what do you think that's going to have on the profitability of your business? It's not going to have a positive impact. Okay. So distractions can have a significant impact on both your professional and your personal life. So according to a study by the Harvard Business Review, the average person is distracted or interrupted every 40 seconds when working in front of their computer. Every 40 seconds is an opportunity for you to be distracted. You may say, okay, James, that's okay. Every 40 seconds, I can deal with that. I can multitask. I know everything that's going on. Everything is cool. But that same study talked about when our attention is completely derailed, research shows that it can take more than 20 minutes to refocus and get back to where you were. So imagine every 40 seconds, there's an opportunity for you to get distracted. When you do get distracted, it takes you 20 minutes to properly focus. Not to mention that within that 20-minute time frame, there are many multiple opportunities for you to get distracted. You can see if you don't understand how to eliminate or to deal with distractions, it can really derail your productivity. It can be a thing where you're sitting at your computer, whether you're home or in your home office or you're in your work location and you're working, and all of a sudden you get to the end of the day or half the day, and you say, "What did I complete? Like, what did I do? Like, what happened? The time flew by." That's because you're constantly inundated with distraction after distraction after distraction. There was also a 2018 workplace distraction study that really found that noisy and interruption prone offices actually make employees unmotivated, stressed, and frustrated. And so your environment with which you are conducting work plays a huge role in your distractibility. So when we think about strategies for dealing with distractions, I come back to understanding that focus is distractions kryptonite. When you learn to focus on what you want, what you truly want, then you have something worth fighting for, something worth not being distracted from. When you learn how to focus on who you want to be, the person that you are becoming, guess what? That becomes another anchor for you not to be distracted, right? When you're focused on the actions that you want to take, the habits that you want to instill in your life, the habits that you are chasing, that becomes another anchor for you not to be distracted. And when you are focused and chasing on those things, your dreams and your visions and who you want to be, then you understand the cost of distractions. Because what you're saying is that if I am distracted, I am not pursuing my best self. If I am distracted, I am not showing up as my best self in pursuing the dream and the vision that I have for myself. So here's a few tips that you can use to really help you deal with distractions and focus on what it is that you want. Number one is recognize that you need to focus your attention toward your dream, your goal, your habit, what you are pursuing. That's number one. If you don't focus your attention on where you're going, just in terms of where you want to go, then when distractions come, you're going to easily veer off because it's not worth it to you. It's just not going to be worth it to you. Number two is look into incorporating some mindfulness strategies that can help you focus. And so practice mindfulness to stay engaged and focused. You can use some deep breathing exercises. You can do deep meditations or mini meditations. You can go on short nature walks that can really help you stay focused. Another thing that you can do within this mindfulness and focus strategies is keep a gratitude journal. Just when you find yourself being distracted, take 5 minutes and write down what you're grateful for. What are you grateful for that day? Take 5 minutes just to focus, and it allows your brain to have a break and kind of focuses you in on the present. Number three will be leverage technology and time management to help your productivity. So you can utilize time management tools like Asana or Trello to organize and prioritize your tasks. You can use different techniques like the Pomodoro technique to break work into manageable intervals that will help enhance focus and productivity. I talked about some of these techniques in a little bit more detail in episode 79, three strategies to boost your personal productivity. There's a link to that episode in the show notes. Number four is creating and controlling your environment for focus. So a conducive environment for focus should be quiet, comfortable. If you're in the office, you may want to consider wearing some noise canceling headphones. If you have different things if you have a work set up at your house, you may want to create just a separate space to minimize disruptions. And what I would say, if you're there with your family, your kids, your spouse, have a conversation about disruptions and what you're trying to accomplish. Your family cannot read your mind. So they can see that you may be irritated when you interrupt them, but they can't read your mind. Now, if you have little kids, you can talk to them, but they're still going to come. They're going to smile. You're like, Daddy, I'm here. Mommy, I'm here. And you're like, oh, that's cute, but I have this stuff that I need to do. That happens. I would say give your family some compassion and give yourself some self compassion in dealing with that situation. But if your kids are older, and you have the ability to actually communicate with them to let them know, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to increase my productivity. I've noticed that I've had issues focusing, and it really would be useful when I have this sign on my door. Please don't disturb me, because that means I'm focused on this. Another thing that you can do, just in terms of managing, managing your focus and communicating with your significant other, is sharing your calendar. Right, put the focus blocks that you want to use on your calendar and share that with your spouse. You can share that with your team members as well, but that lays out what you're trying to do. And I would share it and have a discussion about it, because just because you share it, they may not understand the intent or the context of what you're trying to create. So I come from the stance of, you keep communicating, you over communicate, just to make sure that the person you're communicating does actually gets it. And the last strategy really is personalize your approach, right? There's no one size fits all strategy. You can experiment with these different techniques and combine them and customize the approach that suits you, because you're unique and your situation is going to be unique. So we've talked about very briefly 5 strategies that can help you win at work and at home by limiting your distractions. Many people know what to do, fewer people know how to do it, and there is a select group of people that actually follow through and do it. It is my desire for you to be part of that select few, and I want you to be great this week, and I want you to live this week distraction free, or at least as free as you can be. Thanks.